Sugar Land has a story, but it's not sweet.
Reginald Moore, a former corrections officer, is the official state guardian of the small Imperial Farm Prison Cemetery. It's several hundred yards away from the recent discovery of several dozen remains found on a Fort Bend ISD construction site.
This cemetery came in at the end of the convict lease era, which is over in 1912.
Though no remains were found until recently, Moore has maintained for nearly 20 years that bodies were buried in this area.
So for me to find 30-some bodies prior to not finding one, man, I was elated, I was ecstatic, and I felt good that these guys maybe be recognized for the atrocity that happened.
The atrocities he speaks of followed the abolition of slavery, and what followed that was a convict lease system, reportedly utilizing inmates for work on a prison sugarcane plantation under the umbrella of Imperial Sugar.
They didn't want to get rid of slavery, so they would find some trumped-up charge and they would convict a person of it. Really, whether you were black or white or Hispanic, it really didn't matter. If you got caught stealing a chicken, they'd put you in prison, and you were still a slave. And if you died out here, if they killed you, that's where you stayed.
For several years, Collingsworth and Moore organized visits to this site,
so that people would understand there's bodies out here.
The state of Texas recognized this particular site as being historical in 2007. But when you think in terms of a prison and the expanse that it had, more than 2,000 acres, which covers a lot of the areas that are now being developed, you have to wonder, with the recent discoveries, could there be bones buried beneath some of these homes?
Sure, without question. There's a possibility. I'm not going to panic any people back. There are, but absolutely. There are unmarked cemeteries all over this area. I mean, every place you have had plantations, there's going to be unmarked cemeteries.
And as the nearby unmarked burial ground is being excavated, Moore and others are hoping something will be done to remember those who were lost or forgotten in Sugar Land's history.
If my family was buried there, I would want some kind of recognition.
They wasn't buried properly. They didn't have headstones. They haven't been acknowledged from the city or the state.
Moore is now hoping the recognition for those who were buried here is finally coming. He hopes to continue working with Fort Bend ISD, the city, and the state to eventually develop plans for an on-site museum dedicated to the lives lost during slavery and the prisoner lease program that followed. Jose Grinan, Fox 26 News.